Hello, nerds. Thank you for watching Generally Nerdy. This is your Week in Nerdom TV edition for the week of October 8th, 2018. That's right, October 8th. This week in TV news, we have Jon Favreau's Star Wars update, Star Wars Resistance update, we have Black Mirror update, Arrowverse, other things are going on in television for nerds, and intro.
Quiet on the set, rolling.
Hi, I am Bitsy Telek.
Hey, I'm Hale Appleman.
I'm Walter Kane.
I'm Rene Aubergenois. Odo on Deep Space Nine.
Michael Dorn, Lieutenant Commander of War, Star Trek The Next Generation.
Come and see me and hear me and talk to me and listen to me talk about myself.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, often considered generally nerdy, and you are listening to what is often considered generally nerdy.
On Generally Nerdy.
You're listening to
Generally Nerdy.
Generally Nerdy.
Generally nerdy.
First up for TV news this week, guys, Jon Favreau's live-action Star Wars show, which we are likely going to be getting after Episode 9, which kinda sucks because it's so far out, and they started filming this week, so that means there's going to be a lot of post-production, and it means that hopefully it means that there's going to be a lot of really good content, but we're not going to hold our breath just yet. But we got some set pictures, we got an official announcement of the name of the series, which tells us a lot about the content of the series. The name of the series is going to be Mandalorian, so we're following a bounty hunter, a Mandalorian bounty hunter in the Star Wars universe. From the set pictures, which you're seeing on screen right about now, obviously it's not Boba Fett, because it happens after the Holy Trilogy, but before Episode 7. So, obviously it's not Boba Fett to start. I feel like there is a strong possibility that we will be getting a little bit of that extended universe stuff from before Disney bought Star Wars. In that Boba Fett, we're going to get some sort of story in this Mandalorian series about how Boba Fett killed the Sarlacc and crawled out clinging to life because he is that much of a badass. But at the very least, the beginning protagonist is not Boba. It is a different Mandalorian, because it is definitely not his armor that we're looking at in those pictures. Similar, because it's Mandalorian armor, but not the same. It's not the right color, we're missing some of the extra bits of armor that Boba has. We don't have the radar, the thing on his helmet. So much is not Boba, but still, potentially, I really feel like if this thing goes more than 2 seasons, we're going to be getting Boba Resurrection, if you will, because then that also kind of factors into the Boba Fett movie that is still kind of sort of in production. So just the potential of this series, again, I feel like this is a great way to maintain Star Wars in the current pop culture conversation without overloading us on the movies, like they said they were going to do. They said they're going to start cutting back on the movies because that's why they're getting bad. Might not exactly be why they're getting bad, but it doesn't help, that's for sure. Again, like I said when we talked about this last time, if this is the next live-action thing we see, that's probably for the best. And then that gives Boba Fett and Obi-Wan movies time to breathe, and also gives D.B. Weiss and David Benioff time to set up their trilogy. Also gives Rian Johnson a time for atonement with his trilogy. So, yes, keep all of these things in production. Just slow down and stop trying to rush everything. Favreau is a capable storyteller. He can fill in these gaps for us, and I think that is what Disney really wants, is to keep Star Wars relevant, and this is one of the better ways to do that, I feel like. Other rumor about the Mandalorian is we don't know who is playing this Mandalorian. We don't even know the character's name. The big rumor is, and I gotta read his name, I apologize, Pedro Pascal from Game of Thrones. He was the guy that the mountain squished his head in the Battle of the Champions. Oh, such a great, he's the poison guy with he's the reason the mountain is a zombie, right? That dude, he might be the Mandalorian that we're looking at on screen. He might be the guy that's in the armor, which could be really cool. I feel like, though, if we get too much FaceTime, or any FaceTime potentially, with somebody underneath the Mandalorian armor, that kind of takes away some of the mystique. I think that's why Jango Fett wasn't as effective as Boba, and why fans were mad about Jango in the prequel trilogy. So, I don't know, just an interesting thing. I don't know how Favreau's going to play it, but the director, we also know, for the first episode of the series is going to be the showrunner for the animated series. I can't remember the guy's name, and I didn't put it in my notes, and I apologize. I'll put it across the screen right here. If anyone knows, and this is the guy that almost got Kevin Smith to, Kevin Smith gets behind anything Star Wars, but like to wholeheartedly endorse the prequel trilogies, this guy was the guy that did that, because he probably knows Star Wars better than even George Lucas at this point, because arguably Lucas doesn't know nearly as much as he wants us to think. Anyway. So yeah, super excited about The Mandalorian, but that's all we have. So next is another bit of Star Wars news, which is The Resistance. We got a new trailer. You can follow the link in the description to go check that out. The reason this trailer is important is because we get a little bit of Poe, we get a little bit of Captain Phasma, we get a little bit of Leia. Things are happening, and the art style, we're getting all of these updates, and this is going to be the one that is on the Disney Channel proper. I think all of the other stuff, Rebels and the Favreau live action series, are both going to be on the streaming app. This is the Resistance is the only one that is going to be on the terrestrial TV channel properly. So really interesting to see the direction they're taking this. The more we see of Resistance, the more good it looks, I feel like. Though I did have one little qualm with the trailer. Seems that the voice actor for Leia is doing a little more Holly Hunter and a little less Carrie Fisher, but again, minor qualm. That's all we got for that, though. Check again the link in the description before we move on to the next bit of news, which is Black Mirror. So the rumor is, and again, I couldn't substantiate this from more than one source, but there is a rumor that they're trying to get this launched by the end of the year. They're trying to have the season done so that we can be watching it at Christmas time, is what it seems. That's good in and of itself, but the interesting bit comes with the thing that they're trying this season. Because it is on Netflix, which is on the online internets, there's a certain element of interactivity already, right? Because you're streaming it. They're taking that interactivity up a notch. Actually, no, I did get this from two different sources. The first source said that it was going to be a pick-your-own-adventure, kind of implying that you're going to have multiple points throughout. It's just one episode in the season, but you'll have multiple points throughout the episode in which you can change the direction of the storytelling. The other source, though, said it's just going to be a pick-your-own ending. So you have the two options for how it ends, which is an interesting take, because then that gives it replay, right? Then Netflix has a little bit more on your money, and it makes sense that they would try this. I don't know how well they're going to execute, though, because it's a streaming service, and oftentimes people just leave. I don't know. People leave their TVs on when they're watching things, and when you're binging and stuff, you're up and about and walking. So if you don't select something, is one of them a default? Will it automatically go to an ending, or will it pause and force you to click a button? I feel like it should give you the option to switch, but if you don't click something in a certain amount of time, it should just go to a default. That's just, I feel like the watch habits of people who have Netflix on all the time, though Black Mirror is kind of a anchor series, right? You go specifically to Netflix to watch Black Mirror these days. So I I don't know how that's going to work out, but we're going to see. And if it goes well, they have plans to do other series starting next year. They're dropping over $1 billion on original programming next year, and some of those are going to be pick your own endings for the entire series is what they're making it sound like. So that's really, really intriguing, but we don't have anything more solid there. Let's kick on. Next, we're talking about the Arrowverse crossover, and this one's pretty big. We're getting the Monitor. That's right, the alien being known as the Monitor in the DC universe, the guy who watches everything. We're getting that guy, the equivalent of the Watcher in Marvel, who may or may not be Stan Lee. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the Monitor in the DC Arrowverse, the CW Arrowverse crossover event. They just cast him. LaMonica Garrett is his name. The only thing in his credentials in his IMDb list or Wikipedia, whichever you're looking him up on, the only thing that I recognized on there was Designated Survivor. So not a whole lot of nerd cred in his past, but his casting also came with another announcement, and that is that they have titled the three episode story that is going to be the crossover event, and they're calling it Elseworlds. So that has some really interesting implications, and we know that Superman's coming back also, so it's getting bigger as we go. But Elseworlds kind of implies that obviously we're going to be traveling between universes, but maybe that implies that that's how they're getting around the Batman thing, is they're going to go to an Elseworlds where Kate Kane is the only Bat vigilante, therefore they don't need a Batman, and that's how they make the Victor Freeze stuff work without, again, it just, I don't know what's going to happen. But it's a lot of fun to postulate. So what do you think the implication is by them casting the Monitor? Let's talk about that down low in the comments section. Our last bit of news is another trailer. You can check the link in the description. It is Twilight Zone. They have begun filming. I still have very high hopes. I still have very high expectations for this series. And they don't really give you anything in that trailer, though it is fun to see that they are currently making the show. So we're probably, hopefully, a few months out, maybe 2 months out before they start airing. That is going to be, again, on the CBS All Access app. And that is where we are ending this week's TV episode, guys. What did I miss? What should we talk about next week? Let me know in the comments down low. If, though, you want to go deeper into the conversation, jump over to the website, generallynerdy.net. That is the place to go get all of the stuff, the freebies, the blog, the social media links, the store links, so you can get your nerdy swag. All of that is over on generallynerdy.net. There is also a Patreon page if you want to support the channel a little more directly. Patreon.com/generallynerdy is the place to do that. Lowest tier is just $1, and you get a lot more content for your $1. So go check it out. Patreon.com/generallynerdy. If you're new to the channel, click the subscribe button. If you like this episode, click the like button. If you are falling behind on your nerd news and you want to catch up, click or tap that box right there to the left of my face to do that if you're watching on YouTube. But before we do that and do all the stuff, guys, always remember that if it is generally nerdy, it's probably here.